Are you really ready for that biochemistry test? Well, we're going to be finding out today if you have learned anything so far on the Curious Molecule page, but let's find out using this quiz. So, if you are very ready, you should put on your thinking caps and let's go. So, the first question is concerned with our introductory lessons into biochemistry. What is the study of biochemistry? That should be the first thing that comes to your mind so that you can be able to exclude what does not seem right. So, in questions where you have except, you should be able to define the concept first in your mind or on your paper, wherever, if it's in an exam setting, before you go into the options so that you have the right definition and you're able to exclude the ones that do not seem right to you. So, we already talked about biochemistry being the study of the chemistry of life. So, yeah, all of this seem good, but there's one that should be out of this or that does not really fit into the whole definition of biochemistry. And what is that aspect? All right, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to think about your answer and give it. All right, we are going ahead, not to make the video long, and the answer is the study of atoms. So it is not the holistic definition of biochemistry because you said biochemistry is the study of life, the chemistry of life. Chemistry, of course, involves study of atoms, but that's not everything about chemistry. So this is more of chemistry than biochemistry. So it's the least correct answer. All right. The next question is still concerning our first introductory lesson. We talked about the applications of biochemistry after studying all of these molecular mechanisms, cells, and every molecular mechanism that is occurring in those cells. How does it help us in life? Where is it applied in our daily life? And of course, it's applied in several fields, but which of these is false? And the most interesting answer, I hope nobody would click E because, of course, biochemistry is very, very interesting. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes again to think of your answer, but we are going straight to it. And D is the false answer. So it does not strictly deal with medical laboratory investigations. Of course, if you are a medical laboratory student or a medicine student, you will know that in the laboratory there's a biochemistry section where you do some biochemistry tests on various samples, but that's not all what biochemistry is about. That's not the only field where it can be applied. All right. And the third question is now into our next lesson where we're defining or introducing carbohydrates. And all carbohydrates are sugars. True or false? You know, we defined, classified, gave examples. So is this true or false? Again, I'm giving you 5 minutes, but we are going straight to the answer. It is false. So if you got all these answers, give yourself a tap on the back, clap for yourself. In fact, buy a bottle of juice for yourself. All right. No, let's be healthy. Go buy some fruits for yourself. All right. Okay. Now, the next set of questions, you will give me your answers in the comment section. I'm going to grade you over 7 because there are 7 more questions. And let's see how many you get. So let's go. Next question is in the section of digestion. We talked of digestion of carbohydrates. So far, we have done just carbohydrates. So most of the questions are testing your knowledge of what we have done so far. So a 4-year-old, it's more clinical. A 4-year-old child presents with watery diarrhea, bloating, and abdominal cramps after drinking milk. The laboratory results show that the pancreatic enzymes are normal and there is no damage to the mucosa. Which enzyme deficiency is most likely here? So read the case, highlight what they are telling you, the presentation of the child, and here there is an enzyme involved. Of course, it's digestion. So which of these enzymes? Comment section below. Number 5, the breakdown of sucrose into its monosaccharide units occurs at dash and is catalyzed by the enzyme dash. So again, we're talking of digestion here. And if you remember, if you don't, go to our YouTube page and look at the digestion lesson. And you would remember that carbohydrates are digested. In fact, digestion occurs in different organs of the GIT and by different enzymes, of course. So you are supposed to tell us where sucrose is broken down or by what enzyme is it broken down? Sorry. All right, we come to the next question, which is uh, going back to classification of carbohydrates because carbohydrates can be classified based on different criteria. So there are carbohydrates that are digestible and others that are not. So which of these is not digestible? The next question is still on digestion again. And now we're looking at the order of digestion of carbohydrates. we talked of the fact that it occurs in different organs. So where does it start? Where does it end? What is involved and what is not involved? Okay. The eighth question is now going into metabolism, the interesting part. So one of the most basic, common, and important metabolic pathways that we saw was glycolysis. And in the first step of glycolysis, what happens? There's conversion of glucose to glucose 6 phosphate. And in the liver or in any cell of the body, which enzyme catalyzes this particular step? Answer in the comment section. The ninth question is still on glycolysis. And here remember, we were talking of pathways and everything that we're talking about in biochemistry. We're trying to see how it applies in daily life and especially in maybe disease and diagnosis and all of that. So there are some enzymes that if they are deficient in certain pathways, you end up having complications or having lacking something in your body that is important or it causes disease, basically. So in erythrocytes, which are red blood cells, when they undergo glycolysis, they produce ATP. If there is deficiency or low amount of a certain enzyme, it will lead to hemolytic anemia. Hemo, relation to blood, lytic or lysis, where you have breakage. So breakage of blood, anemia, in basic terms. So uh, anemia, whereby basically we define anemia as low hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is found in red blood cells. So if your red blood cells are breaking down a lot, then the hemoglobin will also be reduced. And what enzyme in glycolysis could eventually cause your red blood cells to start breaking down? All right, the last question for this quiz section is still with relation to glycolysis, which is our basic metabolic pathway. We talked of regulation in different metabolic pathways. What would increase the rate of that pathway? What would decrease it? So, here, which of these will favor glycolysis in the body? Anyways, if it was not very simple for you, don't forget we have a YouTube page with videos that explain all of these concepts. So you should go and watch it. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, share with other people whom you think these videos and questions are going to help. And also don't forget to give your answers in the comment section. Grade yourself, pat yourself on the back, buy yourself a bottle of juice. Oh, buy yourself some fruits. And then continue to learn with us, Curious Molecules. See you in the next session. Bye.